Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Charlene Murphy, Enchanted Empath, and I'm happy to be here today talking about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and it's about healing. It's about healing our bodies, healing our minds, healing the things that trouble us naturally, and knowing that well-being, health, and healing is our birthright. It's readily available to every single one of us. And in my practice, I see a lot of people who are, I want to say, challenged with different situations. And my job is to help them realize their ability to heal themselves, right? And come to an agreement about healing themselves. So I've noticed, and of course, I participated in this myself, all the different ways that we can block the flow of healing, the healing that occurs naturally, which with each and every one of us. And so I want to talk about those blockages. I want to talk about how we stop the natural flow, how we block it, how we create resistance, and then of course, how we can flip the script and how we can get into the flow of our own healing and our own natural well-being. So the chat's open. I invite you to share your comments and your questions. This is a really good time to even get some coaching if you wanted coaching. So I'm starting this whole conversation on two premises. The first one is that well-being is the nature of the universe. You know, if you look especially to our planet, it's not perfect, but if you take out the people, in nature, it works really well. It knows how to survive. It, you know, even the people, even the animals and the mammals and the insects, we all are wired with this survivability, with this expansion, with this ability to efficiently keep ourselves going with or without our own awareness, right? So there's this well-being that permeates the planet. It's really obvious when you look to nature and you see it. You know, that's why we're all drawn to it. That's why we love to go for a hike and get ourselves grounded and soothed and get our spirits healed and feel that peace because we're connecting with the earth's energy and the well-being that naturally permeates it, right? And so the well-being that permeates the planet and the universe and the stars and the grass and all that also permeates us. We are part and parcel of the same stuff. There's no separation. However, in our culture and our society, you know, we're raised to believe that there is a big gap, that there is a big difference between us and it. And I'm here to close that gap and to make us realize and remember our inner brilliance, our ability to heal ourselves, and the fact that we are naturally wired to do so. And if we can get out of our own ways, we would and we could. So the healing process, in my estimation, is super simple. But is it easy? That's the question. Humans, we love to complicate things. We love to make things difficult. We have a lot of belief systems around that. You know, we tell ourselves that anything worth having is worth fighting for or suffering for. And I beg to differ. I do. I do believe that if we can just literally get out of our way, we can experience the healing that is available to all of us without the struggle, without the suffering. There's a saying in 12-step program that suffering is optional. I ascribe to that. So yeah, pain is inevitable. We're all going to experience our bumps and bruises, our illnesses, and all of those things. But they don't have to stay with us forever. You know, it's not a life sentence. A disease or an illness is not a life sentence. It's a sign, it's a signal that something is out of alignment, something's out of whack, something's not working, and it needs our attention. And so then it becomes our job to give it the attention that it needs. So the other premise that I'm basing this whole conversation on, besides well-being is the nature of the universe, is that all healing is self-healing. And I say that because all healing is self-healing, and that it requires your cooperation. It requires your collaboration. At least it requires a willingness and some sort of participation, a belief, maybe even in your subconscious, that can pull you through, even if your conscious mind isn't in agreement, right? So, like I said, we're really naturally wired to survive and to be well. It's crazy. Once I get into this, though, you'll see it's really crazy how well our bodies and our minds are here to serve and protect us. They are amazing, and if we only gave our bodies and our minds an an ounce of respect that they deserve, oh my gosh, and played with it and collaborated with it, we would be so much better off. We would be without disease. We would be without illness. We would be we would come to the conclusions and understand our magnificence and our abilities to heal. We're not quite there yet, but my job, while I'm here, is to help bring us closer. Like I said, close that gap and to realize our magnificence, realize our birthright, realize just how amazingly wired and what's the word that we have everything we need right at our fingertips. We're so capable of so much, including our own healing. Okay. So let's talk about, I want to throw down this disclaimer because some of you are going to hate this conversation, and it's okay. I'm going to have it anyway. I'm not saying that just because all healing is self-healing, which it is, doesn't mean that we have to heal and control everything. I'm not putting that impetus on us that just because we are the healers means that everything is supposed to be healed and we're supposed to be perfect. That's not what I'm saying. We're not about perfection. We're never going to be perfect because, obviously some things are out of our control. We obviously have environmental toxins, we have viruses, we have, bacteria, we have contagions, we have all kinds of different things that are outside of our control. For the sake of this conversation, I really want to focus on the things that we can control. I like to use the word manage. I think control is too tight, but we can certainly manage so many variables and so many aspects of our own health and well-being, right? The question is, are we going to? Because ultimately we have the choice. Okay. All right. So along with my disclaimer, I want to also drop this, that I'm not about avoiding death. That's inevitable. All of us have an expiration date, right? But what I am advocating for is quality of life. We all can have a very high quality of life. And just because we age, we definitely have an aging process. We definitely have this, birth, middle, however that works. It's going to be different for all of us. Just because we age does not mean that we have to have disease and suffer and die. I don't believe that at all. I believe that that is optional. I believe that that is a choice. I believe that we can gracefully and peacefully pass and our bodies can expire. Do I think we're done? No, but that's a whole nother conversation. But while we're here, I am really excited that we can manage the quality of our lives and we can extend our lives to a degree. I mean, accidents happen, traumas happen, all kinds of external situations do occur. I'm not in denial, but for the most part, the things that we can manage, we can decide to the quality of our lives. That is within our grasp. It is within our choice and our decision making, right? So let's talk about, I want to talk about the things that we do to block our own health and well-being. And I do want to touch on the placebo effect. So the placebo effect, when we talk about it, that's I'm going to start with the mental aspects of things. So when we talk about the placebo effect, usually we're talking about how we have a buy-in to something and then it works, whether the actual Reiki healing or the pill or the massage or the whatever the treatment was. If it worked or not is beside the point. The placebo effect says that if you believe it's going to work, it's going to work, right? That's why there's so many people who heal themselves taking a placebo or being a part of a placebo group in an experiment. It's quite revealing about the nature of the human being. And I wish we paid more attention to this. But adversely, what happens is the placebo works in reverse. So people believe that they're going to age and get a disease. So they do. People believe that they have to suffer. So they do. People believe that their disease or their illness is a chronic one for the rest of their lives. So it is. People believe all kinds of things that keep them in a very myopic world. I told you you might not like what I had to say, but hear me out, okay? The mind is a super powerful tool. It's the deciding factor in almost every aspect of our lives, right? And so when we can know that and access it and leverage it, we can rewrite scripts, we can change things, we can heal ourselves, we can do so much, we can change the trajectory of our lives, we can change the direction of the past. The past does not have to come with us. We can make some decisions about how we want to believe and think and feel moving forward. It's the same with healing. So another thing that I want to say that I see a lot, and I think it's become kind of a popular thing to do, is believing that giving all your power away and thinking that somebody's going to come to save you. And I'm here to tell you, nobody's going to come to save you. You have to do the work. You have to do it yourself and be the advocate for your own health and well-being. As much as that does not sound sexy or fun, it's our reality. I see so many people give their power away to other people like doctors and different professionals and even spouses and children and all kinds of different ways. And I know a few doctors, and I know that they're the first ones to say, hey, we don't know everything. We're figuring all this out just like everybody else. We're learning as we go. And not one thing is going to work for everybody. There is no one size fits all cure. Everybody has a different reality. And the fact that their mind and their body and their spirit, their energy are all variables, it just opens up so much space, so many variations, that it's almost impossible to create a one size fits all kind of cure all. So we have to take responsibility for our own health, our own wellness, and our own well-being. And I really think that comes from this place of curiosity. When we get curious about how our bodies work and how this is, how maybe we can come up with a solution, experiment on ourselves and not be the guinea pig for other people or a collaboration. I'm not saying don't go to doctors. Of course, there's a place for healing. There's a place for every type of healing. I'm not here to kibosh or naysay any kind of healing. But what I'm saying is that it's your responsibility to choose the doctors, to choose the helpers, to choose the healers, and to decide what treatments you agree with or what treatments you don't agree with, and to listen to your body. And I'm going to talk a lot about intuition, spoiler alert, as we continue in this conversation, but to be accountable for the signs and the signals that your body is giving you. Your doctor can't hear that. your spouse can't hear that. Only you can. And so it's up to us to be accountable for it, to listen to it, to tune into it, and to respond accordingly to it, right? And not to wait for a cure or wait for some kind of miraculous healing that, by the way, you are the miracle. You are the healer. And so that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to empower you to your own abilities to heal yourselves. Not in every situation. Of course, sometimes there's momentum that has created. You're over the tipping point, all that good stuff. I'm here again just to talk about the things that we can control, that we can manage. All right. Okay. So here's the big kicker that I see us doing as a culture. And maybe I'm only American and I've only lived in America, but I would guess that this is probably pervasive around the world. And this is silencing your symptoms. Silencing your symptoms. You know what I'm talking about. When you're sick, your amazing and efficient body gives you signs and symptoms that something is off. That's all it is. It's just like, if your car starts to rattle, you're not going to just go drive it off a cliff and say it's done, it's over. You're going to take it to the mechanic and say, hey, man, there's a rattle in my car. What's up with that? And he can pinpoint it and fix it, right? Provided that it hasn't, gone to the point of no return. And so we hear the symbol, the sign, we get the symptom, we check it. We know that it's not here to punish us. It's not here to test us. It's not here to do any of that nonsense. It's here to tell us that something's off. Hello, pay attention. It's knock, knock, knock on your door. This is not the time to go pop a pill and to kill the symptom and to silence the symptom. It's time to pay attention. But that's not what we're taught, and that's not what we do. And that's why we're so sick. If we listened to the symptoms, if we tapped in and said, what's going on here? If we got curious and said, what are you trying to tell me? To treat it like you would a toddler who doesn't have a huge vocabulary, they're making noise. They might be screaming or yelling. You say, okay, I'm trying to understand. What are you trying to tell me? We need to have that same level of curiosity for ourselves and say that same level of care and empathy for ourselves to say, what is the symptom? What are you trying to tell me? So that I can trace it to the core and heal it at the origin, right? Or maybe take a time out or do whatever it is that symptom is telling you that you need, because clearly you need something, right? So I would urge you in the future, when you feel a symptom coming on, don't just disregard it and try to throw it away. Open it up and listen to it and ask it, what's your message here? What are you wanting me to know? How can I work with you? How can I make this better? Right? And the answer isn't going to be necessarily take a pill. The answer is going to be, yeah, you've been working too hard. You haven't been sleeping enough. You remember that food you ate last night? You typically have that kind of same reaction every time you eat it. Maybe we should stop eating that. If you ask it questions, you're going to get good feedback. And this is about having an intuitive relationship with yourself. That is the core of all of my work. And I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. Okay, so another blockage, another thing that I see happening with a lot of people is that they mistakenly think that their health is something random, or that good health is something only for a few people, lucky people, or, it just is what it is. And there's this acceptance of the surrender of that you're supposed to suffer. And I already talked a little bit about that. And it's clear that we can't control everything, but it is our responsibility to manage that. So if you could tap into a belief system, and you can borrow mine, that everything is happening for you, that it's not here to test you, it's not here to punish you, it's not karma, it's not any of that stuff, that everything that is happening is here to evolve you, to help you, to, like, you put in some sort of order in the universe, you have some sort of desire, and things are moving always to get you closer to that desire, including illness. I have seen many people manifest illnesses that get them out of crappy jobs that they hate, right? Or to get them out of a crappy marriage that they hate. And so these bigger things happen that give you like a hall pass to do the thing that you really wanted to do, but you didn't have the nerve to do it in the first place, right? So sometimes these illnesses can really serve us. Now, I'm not all about being served up with an illness. I like to feel good. So I'm going to honor those desires. I'm going to honor that stuff that comes up for me that says, I really don't like this job. I think I'll quit. Let me give myself a timeline. I'll set a date and I'll handle it, right? So that way my clever, efficient body and mind and spirit doesn't have to conjure up some painful kind of thing to get me out of it. It's smart, it's efficient, it will do it, because I'm telling you, your body is your best ally. It is conspiring for you all the time. So let's collaborate with it. Let's work with it. It's the thing that houses our spirit, I mean, it's crazy efficient and incredibly kind to us. Think of how much we abuse our bodies, the stuff we eat, the stuff we say, the hate we throw at it, with our body image stuff, with all of that. And our body just loves us back anyway. And it just continues to fight for us, and it continues to fight to keep us alive and to keep us healthy. Let's do it a favor and throw it a bone and be kinder to it, right? And listen to it and collaborate with it. It is our ally. It is not here to hurt us. It's here to love us and to help us and to support us. In fact, it's our greatest support system, right? So back to the topic of, that belief system, that thinking that health is only for the few and that my lot in life is just to suffer. That victim mentality is a manifestation powerhouse. When we have that victim mentality, man, we are creating the wrong stuff. We're so focused and so right in our illness. We perpetuate it and we continue to manifest it. And I warned you might not like this conversation, right? And so when we are coming from a place of victimization and suffering, and that's our label, we are perpetuating it. We are feeding the monster. We don't have to. We can have a different outcome by making different choices, by having different thoughts, right? And so one of the big questions that is extremely helpful and therapeutic is to ask yourself, what role do I play in my suffering, right? What is my role? What am I getting out of this? So, and my question to you is, is it possible that having a victim mentality keeps a person sick? And my answer is, you bet your well-being it does, right? And I know that people who are all knotted up in their suffering. And, it's almost like, well, who would they be without all their aches and pains and all their stories and, the woe is me stuff? What would they talk about? Who would they be? So this serves them. It serves their identity. It serves a place. I'm telling you, every single thing that we do serves something. And so when we get curious and say, how does this serve me? How does this victim mentality serve me? Then you can say, oh, it gives me the attention that I crave because I'm a mom of a I've got 5 kids and everybody else gets all the attention but me. If we can get honest with ourselves and say, I would like some attention. And so then you can ask yourself the next question. Are the things that you're wanting to get your needs met, are they achievable by doing something different, by doing something else, by doing something that is more healthy, that serves you better? So when you start asking these kinds of questions, and I'm not here to throw anybody under any buses, this is about awareness and looking deeply and powerfully at ourselves and seeing that we are humans, we all have vulnerabilities, we all have needs, and everything that we do, every role that we have serves some sort of purpose. So can you get that need met somehow, some different way? And so this will start opening doors for you where they didn't exist before because you never asked that question before, right? So one thing I know for sure is that we live in a responsive universe. And when you ask good questions, you get good answers. But if you never ask, you'll keep doing the same things over and over and over. So I talk a lot about in my practice, coming from a place of like being 5, being a kid, remember when you would fall down and scrape your elbows and scrape your knees and you get up and just start running again. Maybe you cry a little bit, but then you're like, it's history. You totally forget it. And then your little boo-boos would be healed quickly because you had zero resistance to it. That wasn't your story. You didn't stay in that. You didn't stay in that story and you didn't adopt those labels. You said, ow, that hurt. And then maybe your mom sprayed some Bactine on it, put a little Band-Aid, gave it a kiss, and then boom, it's gone in a couple of days. That's the nature of our bodies. That's the way we heal. Some processes take longer than others, but relatively it's all the same. And we are these continuously healing beings. So if we can be like 5, get out of our way, let the healing happen, then we can increase the healing process. We can increase the speed, we can be collaborators with it, and we don't have to suffer. All right, so I talked about some of the things that are blocking us, and now I'm going to continue to talk about the things that block us and offer solutions, okay? So because it's like the same side or different sides of the same coin, right? So talking about that victimization, a lot of people are married to their labels, and they say things like, I have XYZ. It's a very rare disease. There's no cure for it. I'm doomed, right? I am here to tell you, and this goes way back for me when I was a public school teacher, divorce the labels, folks. Divorce the labels. I remember coming to that conclusion when I was a teacher, and every year at the beginning of the year, you go through your new students, files, and you do a little recon on them. And I wouldn't do that until about the first or second week that I was in the classroom because I didn't want to be biased. I didn't want to judge my new students by labels that were given to them by past teachers, because who knew what happened over the summer? Who knew if that label was still applicable? But I knew that I didn't want to perpetuate labels that maybe have no place. And I didn't want to, bias my own mind or prejudice myself against anybody. So when the first day of school, everybody was on an even playing field. I had zero knowledge. And this was, I've always been very intuitive, and I've always relied on my intuition to make those decisions for myself based on how I feel, what my personal interaction is. Of course, having the data is useful. And knowing a person's learning abilities, all that stuff is very useful, but not having it at the very beginning of creating a relationship with somebody, not so good. It's the same with our illnesses, and so when we have we marry those labels. We decide, we put a ring on it. We say that this is going to be my label for the rest of my life. I'm here to tell you that, okay, and the universe will go, oh, if you insist. But I'm here to tell you that that doesn't have to be the case. It doesn't have to be the story. Divorce the labels. Throw them out. Look at them. And tell new stories. Oh, and the medical industry also understands the placebo effect of this. They understand, we're really starting to understand that our brain and our body, everything is listening. Everything is tuning in and listening to what we're saying, what we're feeling, what we're perpetuating. The medical industry is now saying the same thing. They're saying, let's not use the verbiage, for example, I am depressed, or this person has depression. We're cleaning it up because we understand, especially the words I am are super duper powerful. What you say after I am defines you. And so how do you want to be defined? Do you want to be I am depressed? Or can you say, like the Irish people, I have sadness on me, I have depression on me? Knowing that it's a transitory situation, everything is fleeting, nothing is forever, everything changes. And so instead of saying I am depressed, you can say I feel depressed. I feel depressed right now, and then your now changes into something else later. But if you insist on it and insist on that label and drag it into the future with you, then that will be your reality. And I don't ascribe to that. I know we can do so much better. I know that we could be so much healthier. I know this stuff, right? And so I have to share. So when we start to tell new stories about our health, that's going to be a big game changer. So instead of, talking about that thing that you've experienced, we just start telling a new story. We talk about other things, and that's not just it's not to be in denial. This isn't about that. This is about knowing that thoughts are things. Mike Dooley from The Secret says that. It's at the bottom of every email that he sends out. I would subscribe to his notes to the universe if I were you. It's a great way to get an inspirational message first thing in the morning when you pop open your email. Thoughts are things. And if we are thinking about our illness, the first thing, when we wake up, or the first thing that wants to come out of our mouth when we're introducing ourselves to somebody, it's like, hi, my name's Susan. I have cancer. I have this. I have lupus. Why perpetuate that, right? When we can change up the energy and we can put the baggage down, and we can create the space, create the room for something new to emerge or something new to exist. But when we are insisting on those stories and keep telling it, so we're almost like, think of Pigpen in the Peanuts, comic strip. We're just always going to be in that cumbersome muck. And I lack my freedom. I don't know about you, but I love, love, love my freedom. And I know that it's available, to all of us it's just a thought away. So along those lines I hear a lot of people fighting for their limitations. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, well, she can do that. That's because she's a vegan, or she's got a chef, or she's got the money, and blah, blah, blah. There's always something. And fighting for your limitations, you're gonna win. You're gonna win. And I'm like, why? You don't want to win that one. You don't want to win your limitations. You want to supersede your limitations. You want to evaporate your limitations. You want to overcome your limitations, right? Your limitations are here to show you something. They're not here just to be kicked to the curb. They're here to show you about yourself. All of this is here to teach you about you. Pay attention. Tap in, tune in. What are you learning? Oh, I'm kind of married to my limitations. I never even thought of that. Gee, when I was 5 or 6 or 7 or 10, I didn't have those limitations. Where did these limitations come from? Why do I even have that thought? Oh, all those stupid commercials on TV telling me how sick I am? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna turn that shit off, right? So ask good questions. You're going to get the answers, guys. We are being bombarded with messages telling us how sick we are all the time. Follow the money, folks. It leads right back to big pharma, right? And so I am not a conspiracy theorist, by the way, but that one I say check. Yep. So monitor what you listen, monitor what you ingest in your body, your foods, your messages, all the different things. It all matters. Every part of you is listening. It's like, if you have children, how they didn't miss a beat when you were saying something. They heard you when you cussed. They heard you when you said this or that. Your body's the same way. Your brain, your heart, everything is listening and it's responding. It's responding to what you are saying and feeling and thinking. So clean it up. It's in your best interest. And you have like I said, the ability, the choice, and the power to do so. Nobody else but you. Okay. So some real super basic stuff. You guys already know this. We all already know this, right? And this is all the other things that I talked about were free. It's just a matter of mindset, right? Changing our minds, exploring our thought processes, exploring and digging into our beliefs, all of those things. It's internal work. And it is work, it takes a minute. And we're not going to get the answers on Google. We're not going to get the answers listening to podcasts. We're going to get the answers when we're quiet within ourselves, okay? But here's the one that costs money. You got to eat good foods, so I am a big believer it's not even belief, it's a knowing that food is your medicine. Foods, just like words, they either bless you or they curse you, right? And not everybody is going to have the same response to foods as everybody else. But there are some foods that are clearly in the green zone. They're good for you. They're healthy, right? Doesn't mean some people still don't have an allergic response to them. I'm not saying that. One size does not fit all, folks. But there's a clear difference between foods that are natural and whole versus foods that are manufactured and packaged and full of sugar and gross stuff that just makes us sick and fat and gross and brain fogged and all kinds of fun stuff. We all know that stuff. But do we practice it? That's what I'm saying. It's like this stuff is pretty simple. But it's not always easy to follow when we're just bombarded with so much around us. So again, this takes work and responsibility, self-responsibility. You can do it or not. It's your choice, right? But I do choose quality over life. So these are the things that I choose to do. So I do eat healthy foods. I spend more money on foods. I spend more money on organic foods. But I also know that, some people will use those as an excuse as to why they don't do it. But I'm not spending any money on alcohol, on junk food, on any of that other crap, and eating out, not so much, because I like to prepare my own meals. I like to know what's in the pot, right? And I can control that to a huge degree. So where I am not spending money are in all those dark places, and sodas, no sodas, none of that stuff. Stop. And then my grocery bill is probably smaller than the average person's because I'm just buying whole foods. Yep, I'm buying organic foods, but they're whole foods and I don't have a whole lot of crap in my kitchen, right? So you can make that argument. You can fight for your limitations, but I would poke holes in it pretty fast if you get down to it, right? All right, so let's talk about some of the esoteric things that we can do, some of the spiritual aspects of what we can do to help our healing along and to be the collaborators with it. And those of you who know me know that I'm going to say this, but gratitude. Gratitude is one, it's free, folks. When we can tap into gratitude and muster the feeling of gratitude and gratefulness and just happiness inside of our bodies, we are gangbuster healing ourselves. We are raising our vibrations, our frequency, our energy. We're all energy. Everything about us is energy, right? And that energy, the stuff that we're emitting and broadcasting, is going out into the ethers, and then it is attracting or bringing back to you the stuff that matches it. So raising your vibration, raising your energy is paramount to healing. It's just paramount to having a good quality of life, right? So that you can attract well, you can be healthier, you can be vivacious, have longevity, all of it. And so when you tap into the feeling place of gratitude, you are opening a channel. You are coming from love. Love is the highest energy of the planet, probably the universe. It heals. It's a healing balm. And so when we can shift our energy, say from being in a victim place, and if you are in a victim place, getting from there to gratitude is a big leap. I suggest baby steps and getting yourself there gradually, and I can help you with that if you wanted me to. But when we finally get to the higher frequencies and the higher feeling places, the higher states of grace and gratitude and love, that's where healing happens. We become these clear, open channels for the well-being of the universe to flow through. And that's how I started this conversation. There is a flow of well-being happening in the universe, and either we were open to it and receptive to it, or we're blocked off and blocked off and blocked off, and we have all this resistance, and it cannot come through. Think of that like your arteries in your heart. How many people have to have surgery just to open that stuff up so that the blood can flow? It's the same thing, just on a macro level. So if you can muster those feelings of gratitude and love, you can literally open up your channels, and you can receive, well, first you're broadcasting, and then you can receive the well-being and flow with the well-being and the healing of the universe that permeates the entire cosmos, right? So that sounds like a lot of fun to me, and that's where I choose to put my energy. Another thing I love is the gift of the imagination. Don't even get me started. I can talk all day about the imagination. It is such a powerhouse of a tool that each of us has, that, Einstein talked about it all the time, being, more important than knowledge, all the preview of life's coming events. Everything that exists started as a thought in the imagination. That's power. Think of that. Every single thing began as an imagined thought. So if you connect those dots, you would see that the imagination creates worlds. The imagination is creative. It makes things. How Mike Dooley says, thoughts become things. Well, all those thoughts are taking place inside the imagination, and the imagination is making them coming into form. So whatever we are imagining, we are creating. And if we can imagine ourselves well, even when we're not, or we're not feeling great, it's just a redirection of our energy. It's going from what is, and yes, there's a whole lot of what is, and then moving into a place of, well, I want to feel better, so let's imagine something different. Let's imagine a possibility. Let's go to a higher vibration. Let's feel better. And then you start to realize that feeling better, the imagination, all that stuff is critical, essential components to self-healing. It's everything. It's everything. And we all have it right there. We don't need insurance for it. We don't need all of that, right? And then, of course, the last thing I want to talk about is listening to your intuition. Really creating a relationship, having a relationship with your intuition. Everybody has an intuition. Everybody. We are wired with intuition. We have instinct and we have intuition. I'll talk, that's a whole nother podcast. But our intuition is the higher place, the higher vibration, where I believe that it is manifested in the body, in the heart space. It's the seat of our soul, and it's our direct connection to source energy, or that flow of the universe that I was talking about earlier. Some people call that God. You can call it whatever you like. It's kind of hard to pretend that it doesn't exist, right? Because there is obviously something that's keeping everything going that is really super intelligent and spot on and very consistent. It's the only stuff we can count on, in fact. And so if our intuition is directly connected to that, that tells me that we have the answers to everything we need right inside of us, right inside. And so how do we access that? Well, there's the fun stuff. That's when we turn off the tellies. That's when we tune in to ourselves. We stop the Google madness. We listen to ourselves. We ask those good questions, and then we receive. We clear up our vibration so that we can receive. We receive the answers that are unique to each of us. Again, one size does not fit all. And so when we can get into an intuitive place and leverage our intuitions, we have everything we need right there. It will open doors. It will guide us. It will direct us. It will show us the right people, the right places, the right tools, the right techniques, all the stuff that serves you, right? And again, your intuition is free. It is such an undervalued resource. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started on that. But tap into your intuition. If you want to know how to do that, come and work with me. I will happily show you. I have a beautiful community of folks in my community group called Enchanted Empath, and that's what we do every week. We work on our intuitive abilities, we work on our manifestations, we work on our self-healing, we explore all the tools, all the modalities, the limitless possibilities that are available to all of us, so that we can reduce the suffering, reduce the anxiety, reduce the fears, get out of all that stuff, that our culture and our society just kind of seems to really enjoy doing. I'm not down, right? So if you want to take control of your own health and well-being and manage your systems and understand your magic and the abilities that are inherent to you, your birthright, let me know, contact me, email me, get in touch. I would be so happy to steer you in the right direction and to help you excavate the stuff that is keeping you from your ultimate well-being. It's just a breath away. It's just a thought away. It's yours to have. All right, guys. So thanks for sharing your time with me today. This was a lot of fun to explore. I hope I didn't ruffle too many feathers. I am so not here to hurt anybody. I'm here to open people's eyes, open people's hearts to the possibilities, to their potential. I'm not here to placate illness and disease. I don't believe that they are inevitable. I believe that they are optional. And most diseases, guys, think about it, are lifestyle diseases. That means we're making choices, we're doing things, we are creating that. We are the creators of our realities, right? And so that only makes sense to me. So the question just becomes, what quality of life do you want? Because you can be, do, and have whatever it is you choose. All right, folks. So I'm out until I see you next time. Take good care of yourself and take good care of each other. Okay? Peace out.